Okay, so in today's video, we're going to go over how to create points onto existing line work. So first thing you're going to do is press applications up here and then go into create, and then you're going to click points and then line snap. So when this menu opens, you have a few different options here. One would be that you can name your point whatever you want. So I'll just maybe name this one layout point number 1. And as you create points, that will actually count up incrementally. You can also change your point type either to layout or control. I'm just gonna keep on layout. And then you can also, if you'd like to, actually place points on any of your layers that you want to in your AutoCAD file. Further down, you have your snap settings. So this is asking you what type of points you actually want to create when you start clicking the line work. So endpoints, I'll turn that on. That would be if I just click a line and it actually just creates 2 points on either end of that line. So if I press the blue arrow down here, that puts those 2 points into the plan. And I can do that on any line I want. So I can click this line, and if I don't want any of these points, I can just tap where they're located before I press the blue arrow. And now those are actually in the plan and I can go lay those out. So that's endpoints. Next is midpoints. So what that does is you can just tap any line you want. So I'll go over here, and that actually creates a point directly into the middle of that line. So you can either do this with lines, or like if I want to tap this point and this point, then it would create a point directly in the center of, it draws a line between the 2 points that you selected and will actually put a point right in the middle. So I'll put that one in there. Next we have center points. So that will place a point in the center of a circle, radius, triangle, or rectangle, square object inside of CAD. So to give you an example of that looks like, if I click this circle, I get a point in the center. I can do that for any circle I want to on this AutoCAD file. Lastly, we have intersections. So if I turn that on, that allows me just to go around and click any 2 lines that intersect on my AutoCAD file, and it'll put a point where they intersect. So I get a point at that corner, and now these 2 corners. Another thing I like to point out is when you're making intersection points is this intersection type selection you have down here. So you can either make that 2D or 3D. So if you're working with a 3D file, I'll give you an example. If I want to make a point that intersects at this grid line and this line I have selected right now, you can see if I select that right now, I get no point there. So if we actually look at this file in 3D, you can see that this grid line actually does not touch this box right here, which is why that point isn't being created. So what I can do is I'll flip this back into 2D, is if I actually change this intersection type to 3D, and I redo that intersection, now I get a point right there. So if you ever do run a situation where it looks like the 2 lines intersect from 2D, it could be that you have to just change the intersection type from 2D to 3D to get a point where you want it. Another cool thing we can do with point creation is we can actually just window in a bunch of points at once. And how we do that is, on this example, let's say I wanted to make points on every intersection of this foundation layer. So rather than windowing in every intersection on this entire file, what I can do is I can go into my layers, and then I'll just isolate the foundation layer, and then I'll go into create points, leave intersections turned on, and if I open this side tab and press this Windows button, I can actually just highlight this entire drawing, and now I get a point on every single intersection that I want. I can go around if I wanted to and turn some of these off, but for this example, I'll just put them all in there. And now I'll just unisolate that layer so we can see the points. and now I have a point on every intersection of that foundation layer. Also seen this being used for sleeves and site lighting and things like that. If we can just highlight the whole project instead of going around and tapping every single intersection or center point, just saves you a bit of time. That's all I got for this video. Any questions, as always, post them in the comments and we'll do our best to help you out.